The CAE Community National Center. And this is the first of our CAE Community Monthly virtual meetups. So what we wanted to do was try and get the community together once a month for about a half hour and talk about something related to resources or projects or things that are happening out in the greater CAE world. And so we thought this would be a great venue to do that. And I first and foremost, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day, being that it's probably the end of your semester and you're grading, or you're just finished, or you're about to finish, or whatever your timing is. I already have the students that are whose relatives have suffered I don't know what it is. Grandmas should be just in fear during finals time. You might warn your grandma ahead of time that finals are about to happen, because the number of dead grandmas and other things that are happening this week is pretty substantial. But you as faculty, you know all about that. And then and then I have the student threatening me right now because I didn't like their exam. So I guess that is the way, right? But anyway, good luck to all of you in taking care of your finals and so on. I hope you all have a great holiday. So the agenda for this meeting is I'm just going to yap at you for a few minutes and then give you an overview of a couple of things happening in the CAE community. I'm going to turn things over to Sharon Hamilton, and then we're going to finish with some things related to the web. So what's happening in the community? Right now, the CAE community has entered a new grant cycle, which means that there's a restructuring on the national front of how we are presenting resources and working with the 400 plus colleges and universities and getting everybody to collaborate. So there are 4 national centers now. There's the CAE community. That's the one that I'm leading. That's sort of the overarching for distribution of information. Then there is the CAE Candidates Program out of Whatcom Community College. A lot of you know the Candidates Program because you had to be designated, and they help facilitate the designation process and the peer reviews and the tool, and a lot of great work is being done out of Whatcom. And then there are 2 new national centers. One is the Career Preparations National Center that Sharon will be talking about in a moment, as well as the Educational Pathways National Center. And so we are going to likely ask for next month. We haven't set a date yet, but we'll ask for next month for the Educational Pathways National Center to talk about all of the great things that they are doing. This community is very unique in that there's a lot of resource out there and a lot of collaboration. And I encourage you to take advantage of everything that is out there. As usual, every year we come together twice a year. We come together for the CAE Community Symposium and the Executive Leadership Forum. The CAE Community Symposium this year will be held right after the NICE conference on June 8th and 9th in Seattle, Washington. So that is confirmed, June 8th and 9th, right after the NICE conference, and we'll be sending out more information, but also within our CAE community program, our communities of practice, which is this communities of practice for cyber defense led by Yair Levy and Ann Conkey. They'll be reaching out for some program input. And then we also have the community of practice in operations led by Seth Hammond and Drew Hamilton. They will be reaching out to the community, looking for things for the symposium. And then finally, the CAE research, which is Agnes Chan and Suzanne Wetzel. They will also be putting some program things. So there'll be a call for proposals and presentations and so on. But mark your calendars, June 8th and 9th in Seattle, Washington. And if you look, you can see like some of those people, they might even wave on their video. today. With that, because I want to keep this a short meeting, I'm going to turn things over to Sharon Hamilton from the Careers Preparation National Center. And she's going to talk about what that project entails and resources that are available to you. And then when she is done, we'll talk about the CAE Community National Center, just briefly, some resources that are also available. So Sharon, it's all up to you now.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Career Preparation National Center. I'm going to show some slides, but the real reason I put the slide pack together, and it's a very shortened version of what we put together as a group, is so that I can provide that. I'll get that to Vanessa and you can get a copy of that. So for those of you who this is the first time you've heard it, you'll wonder why I'm going through it so fast. The exciting thing is there's so many initiatives tied with this Career Preparation National Center. And so I want to whet your appetite. I want to invite you to help us and join the teams and the work groups that we've had going for a few years in some cases and new groups in others. And then finally, Tony, the slide I hope will make your head hurt at the end for everybody is what our coordination looks like outside of CPNC, because as Tony said, this is about us working together. And Lynn setting up the national centers to help facilitate some of this coordination was the first step. Now, the tough part is we have to actually do it. And so I have a concept map from hell that I'm going to share at the end. And so let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen.
Does it look like that? No. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can you see that? Let me get back to where I am here on Zoom. Okay, sorry. Got too many screens going on here. All right. So can everybody see
so
that?
We're seeing your notes slide as well.
Ah, okay. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, we're seeing your presenter view.
Okay. Hold on a sec.
Come on, we had this right in rehearsal. It always happens this way.
I
On
know.
top, under
know.
display settings, change to
Yep.
mirror.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amy in my office was just yelling the same thing.
I know. Let me just change it to
All right, well, while she
Yeah,
gets this set up, I can tell a joke if you would like, Sharon, or are you good?
No, don't do a joke, Tony. No,
I had a great conversation with a dolphin the other day. It just clicked.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and
Just the expressions on everybody's face makes that just worth it.
Yeah. Well, I will just, you guys are going to have to tell me once I bring it up. This is, Shankar can relate. I've been jumping from meeting to meeting.
Tony, any joke from you is always welcome.
Oh, don't say that.
no,
There are
don't
many
say
people
that.
that will disagree.
No, come on. That means they don't really know you. That's all I can say.
Right before this meeting, in defense of Sharon, we tested this and it went off swimmingly. There we go.
It
There we
just-
go.
Nothing against you. Nothing
Okay.
against you. It's
All right,
just
so
Tony.
so you guys tell me how to stop sharing my notes.
All right, you're good. You're good. Hit go on that. Hit that little
Yeah,
icon.
but is it okay now?
Yep, perfect.
It's one of those years. Okay. All right. So again, I'm Sharon Hamilton. I'm with Norwich University. I think the thing I would take off of this slide is at the top. If you can see all of those great partners that we have in this effort. And what's exciting is that some of us were working together on a previous grant, the Evidencing Competency Grant, but some of us are new partners. And one of the best parts about putting together a proposal, because I have to find something positive before I write a grant proposal, because it's a pretty onerous process. But one of the great things is reaching out and finding new partners. And taking part in meetings like this and the meetings in person with the community, if you're new to the community, it builds an entire new network for you. And it's very exciting to find out who's doing what and how we can work together. So these are the basic tasks when you're looking at, hey, what are you guys doing for us? This is what we're doing in the Career Preparation National Center. As I mentioned, it's about pulling together notes and pulling together efforts that we were previously doing. And we had a lot of grants going for Lynn, and being able to coordinate those and coordinate our collaboration both internally to CAE, and just as importantly, collaborating externally with the government, so that we're not having 15 different people from the CAE community try to engage one government or federal office, and having a coordinated effort really helps us all. So some of the things that we're responsible for doing, I'm going to go through in this presentation, but I welcome any follow-up emails, phone calls, and you'll see some names on there, and you'll see some of those people represented in this meeting, because I saw Michael, I saw Stephen, I saw quite a few of you who are working on our programs. But what the Career Preparation National Center is pulling together are grant efforts from all different areas. So whether that's how do we define competency and then help students, educators, and the workforce understand what competency means, how we can put together databases so that not only CAEs can reference those, but also those who are hiring reference, build into our reference databases. How can we help build requirements for redesignation, which may scare some of you if you just went through designation process. But again, how can we coordinate some of the work being done so that we can help our students better prepare for their careers that follow after they graduate? So I would be remiss as a retired military person if I did not include a line and block chart. Vinnie Nessler gives me a lot of credit about this. We all have our habits, and this is mine. But again, I wanted you to see who is in this. It's pretty incredible who's doing what. And so just very quickly, so myself and Michelle Leslie, who's our grant coordinator at Norwich, operate as the program office for this grant. But we've got University of North Texas, Ram Dantu, Mark Thompson. We've got Portland State with Barbara, very well known in this community, and also Ran Hendricks. And Ran is representing both Portland State and University of Washington. We've got our competency development team, formerly known as the evidencing competency team from our previous grant. So Vinnie Nessler runs the major task on that, working with Zoe Fowler. Vinnie's from CSUSB, Zoe Fowler's from Norwich University, and I'll get into these in a little more detail. We've got Kelly Bergen, who's continuing work on student development from Montreat. And then we've got our great team on credit transfer. Both Michael, who I saw is on this call, and Tony Brown from Foresight. So I'm going to jump in and just show you really quickly what we're doing. I know we've got a couple of these representatives on here. Forgive me, you experts in each one of these, if I don't cover all of your information. But again, I want to whet your appetite with what we're being asked to do in the next couple of years as the CPNC. So we start with the University of North Texas, and for us, it's a new task, but it's always building on previous grant tasks, and it's a new partner for us. And Ram and the group from University of North Texas are being charged to actually provide data, to collect, compile, and manage data that's going to help match institutions and designations to employers. And so we're working with Tony and his group because, as you see on there, we want to highlight that in green, Tony. This is from the very beginning a collaborative effort between the national centers, because Tony's group is going to build the tool, and then we're going to populate it with information. And so we'll be working very closely with them. But just as importantly, with a lot of these tasks, what you'll see is we're also working with the NICE cybersecurity workforce group and Karen Wetzel, which is why you see Karen at most of the meetings, both the meetings that Lynn Clark hosts, but also our most recent meeting with our group. And should have prefaced my talk by saying our group actually got together in person the 7th and 8th of November. at Towson University at their new facility. And it was a great opportunity to get together, to talk about the tasks, and to look across the room and say, you're the one I have to collaborate with. And so we were able to do that internally. And then our next step is all our external partners and the collaboration we're going to be doing. So RAM, one of the interesting things with this task, again, is not only that we're going to be working very closely with Tony and his group as they develop the tool, but we've got to reach out to Department of Defense. We've got to reach out, and I think that's my next slide. We've got to reach out to federal agencies. We're working with NIST, Office of Personnel Management. These are the people who we have to reach out and get the data from and collect the data. And then turn around and coordinate internally within our CAE community with the competency development team on our task, and also with the Education Pathway National Center. All right. And again, this is going to be fast and furious because I got a lot of tasks and wanted to have more time for discussions. So I mentioned Barbara and the cooperative learning. So Barbara Endicott, Popovsky, and Rand Hendricks are leading our effort for cooperative learning. I would like to think that maybe one of the reasons that our proposal might have stood out from the other great proposals that were submitted was that we took a different approach on the cooperative learning. And we've been doing co-ops in universities for a long time. But this approach is about what they're calling cybersecurity in a box. And it's taking a different method of pulling in competencies, mentors, corporations, and actually developing products as part of the co-op to support the companies, and being able to not only do it at one university, but export it to any of the CAEs who are interested. So this is going to start with a co-op in the Northwest region. And then in the second year, other regions are going to have the opportunity to say, put their hand up and say, you know what, I want to try this co-op model. And so Barbara and Rand are the ones who are going to be promoting this work. And just very quickly on theirs, when we talk about cooperative learning, this first year, it's about developing a curriculum for the co-op, which they've already developed and had using in a previous grant. It's building a rubric also, so that it's founded in work that's been done throughout our community. So whether that's work in the NICE framework, or whether that's the competencies, and we'll talk about that a little later, the framework we've developed for defining competencies, this is the framework that we're going to use for all of our tasks throughout the CPNC, is we're working with NICE. So we have to do something that's collaborative and complementary, and not new standalone programs, because we've had a lot of standalone programs and we have to learn how to weave those together. This particular co-op program is going to provide the certificates that you see listed on the slide. And then also specifically, we've got requirements to have a pretty high placement percentage out of these co-ops. And initially we're going to have 10 students in this first year as our pilot program. And then it grows exponentially after that. So we'll start small and we'll get big very quickly. So sometimes I start our presentation with talking about competency development before I talk about any of the other tasks, because this really is some of the glue for the Career Preparation National Center. This is our competency development team. Most of these pieces, if you were involved in the evidence and competency grant the previous 2 years, this is what grew out of that. And so we've got a lot of continuing efforts here. But as Lynn says, I'll clean it up, right, Tony? That's the hard part. Lynn says, now we got to get stuff done, right? We had a lot of good discussions. We came up with definitions. We came up with frameworks. Now we have to get stuff done, and we have to get it out to the CAEs, so that what we're developing are things that you can use in your school. And so I'm going to go through these very quickly, but just up front, I'll talk the regional exercises and sock in a box. I think some of you on this call took part in the regional exercises that occurred. They were critical infrastructure exercises done by region, 2 per region, in the evidence and competency grant. And we got some great feedback, particularly from 2 of the regions, got some great feedback on this being something that provided the students some context for what they were doing in the classroom. It put students in the position of, now I am actually responsible for critical infrastructure. What decisions do I have to make? And if I know what decisions a leader has to make, then me as someone who's trying to identify cybersecurity threats, to resolve cybersecurity threats or prevent them, what do I need to provide a leader? And so it gave students a chance to go up a few levels and figure out what those decision makers would need. And so we're going to have an opportunity to do some more regional exercises in this grant. Also, one of the products that came out of evidence and competency was SOC in a Box, Security Operations Center in a Box. It's a not only a booklet, but mentoring. If your university is interested in developing a SOC, Security Operations Center, we have one at Norwich. It's a live SOC, which means we have actual customers, and it's revenue generating also, which is another good thing for university. But it's a great opportunity for our students to do internships and get SOC analyst certified, which is another great thing to put on their resumes. So I'm going to dive into some of these in a little more detail. So competency development, and again, it really is the glue that holds the CPNC together, is going to continue the work of a lot of you on this call that you've been doing for the last 2 years. One of the biggest things I can pin a star on Vinny's chest for coming up with in the last grant was the actual definition of what a competency is. And this is in context of what a competency is for the CAE community, because there are many other definitions out there. But for us moving forward, competency is the ability for students to complete a task or tasks in the context of a work role. Everything we do for competencies needs to be in that context of a work role, whether that's NICE framework, whether that's the Defense Cyber Workforce Framework, work roles, or a federal agency or a private entity. What we want to be able to do is arm our students with the ability to say, I have successfully completed a task in the context of this work role, and be able to have that discussion with the person who's hiring for that job position, so that they can show actual evidence that they know how to do that task. So they have a great transcript, and that might get them through the door. But what's going to get them a job is to be able to show they have experience based on opportunities you've provided at your school to do specific tasks. Also, what we'll be doing is we're developing a competency statement e-library, and that's where we're going to ask a lot of you to step forward and help us build some of these competency statements. This is an ongoing work group, and we continue to invite new members. So Dr. Vincent Nestler, Zoe Fowler, you can contact either of them. And we've got ongoing meetings, monthly meetings with this group to develop competency statements. And this is something that's going to be accessible to all of you, because what we're going to be doing as part of this task is actually building an e-library or a competency constructor. Just very quickly on this one, the one thing I will say is keep your eyes open, because coming soon through the CAE website and your announcements that Tony and his group send out, is that we're going to be providing a train the trainer workshop to 20 educators on how to design and deliver competency statements. So we're going to help fund people to help us, because we understand your time is valuable. And so keep your eyes open for that. We're also going to be developing a competency statement handbook for everyone to be able to use. And we're going to be putting that in a database. And the database is going to be developed, and we're initially calling it the competency constructor, is going to be developed by Sid and Blair and supported by Mike and Paige at SecureEd in Towson. And they're going to be building the system for competency statements. They're going to be helping us with the user handbook. And again, they've been working on this for a few years. So these are not new efforts. These are now bringing to fruition a lot of great work in the past few years. All right, going quick, Tony. Okay, cyber competitions. We got Dan Manson on the line. I saw him there. A lot of great competitions, but to what end, right? So how do we know what competencies our students are getting as a result of taking part in these competitions? And how can we capture that in an e-portfolio, in a competency statement? And so Dan, supported by Morgan and supported by several of you on this call, are going to be reaching out and asking you for help as they conduct interviews and discussions with CAE competition organizers. And this is one where they're specifically going to be coordinating with the Education Pathways National Center. Suzanne Wetzel's continuing her work on tools. I saw Stephen Miller's on the call here, evaluating non-commercial tools, again, using the framework of the competency statements and how we define competencies, so that we understand what the tools provide and how those students can best benefit not only us and the students, but also the people who are going to be hiring our students. So as we looked at all of these, we kind of pulled them together under the competency development. We've got some challenges. We're going to continue to refine the framework. And again, I'm not going to steal Zoe's thunder, so I ask that you join that group if you want to know more about the ABCDE framework. But we recognize every day that it takes a community to do this task and to do all our tasks. And so we're going to be reaching out to you through emails, through the CAE updates and on the website, asking you to help us with the competency statements, asking you to nominate tools, helping Dan identify competition participants. And then we're going to ask for 20 educators who may want to become trained trainers so that they can then go out and spread the word. Really excited to have Kelly Bergen and her team from Montreat on board to continue the work of the student professional development. Again, a task that's been ongoing for several years. And the first several years of her grants were about building tools, and now we're going to get them out to the community. And that's what we enjoy. So we're going to, Kelly and her team are going to get out the ethics book and the cybersecurity curriculum. This is specifically, and we don't call them soft skills anymore. It's almost denigrating. These are human skills, right? These are people skills. This is what's going to help get the job for our students, is they're going to have great technical ability, but we've also got to be able to know that they can think critically, that they can accept challenges, they can work on a team, all those great things. So Kelly's going to help us do that in her team by providing not only a toolbox, but distributing career videos that they've taken for students who have recently gotten positions and sharing their lessons learned in easy bite-sized chunks that will be good for our students to take a look at, and our faculty. I saw Michael on board here. Michael's going to be working to do the credit transfer agreement development. And so again, a lot of the work that's been done the last couple of years, we're actually going to make available to everyone a database of cybersecurity credit transfer agreements to help you understand not only how to put those together, but then the ability for educators and those who are hiring to access a database so they can see who has these transfer agreements available. It helps our students and it helps our faculty. And sorry, Michael, I just zipped through that. Michael's got an awesome 30-minute briefing that he can present on that. And finally, Tony Brown's going to be supporting that with the work that he's been doing with Jake and the group up at Mohawk Valley for the last several years. Tony's going to actually put together the database for Michael. And so they're working very closely as a team. But this is what I wanted to summarize. So I did my whole doctoral dissertation. The whole basis was on a concept map. It didn't look like this. Otherwise, I'd probably still be working on it. But this is just to give you an idea. As we had a discussion, I have an internal one to CPNC and I have this external one that we continue to build on. But what we recognized as soon as we started looking at the tasks from the proposal stage on, but now that we've actually started our work, is we are not going to be able to do this alone. That we have got to understand who we have to reach out to, how to reach out to them, and then make sure it happens and that we provide feedback not only within our group, but to the entire community, because we want to be very transparent on what's going on in the National Center. So you see a lot of things there, Tony. We got you pegged out on CNC in yellow. You are the center of our CAE universe. So we're going to be coming.
Nuclear fusion.
We're going to be coming back to you. But if I've said anything in the last, 10, 15 minutes, it sparked your interest, then my job's done. If you see something on here and you're from the EPNC or you're from Tony's National Center, know that we're going to be reaching out to you, again, in a coordinated effort. So we don't want, Tony, 29 people reaching out to you. We're going to coordinate the effort, but none of these centers are going to thrive unless we work together. And if everybody on this call decides that maybe they'll do one thing that's going to support one of these efforts, because none of these efforts exist alone. It's really been a team of people. And we've got a lot of great incentives and opportunities in the CPNC for you to help. And so I look forward to hearing from some more of you. And if you have any questions, I don't know, I should just leave that up there just for everyone to love and enjoy before the holidays.
Just
But,
to absorb.
Yes, I'm gonna stop. I'm from the Midwest. I can talk fast. And I know I went through a lot of things there. Hi, Morgan. Saw you on there.
Did you want to put your email address up in case anybody has any questions?
Yeah,
Because,
let me put
we're
that.
just trying to keep to a short meeting here. I'm sure people have
Yeah.
about a bazillion things to do. But if you have questions about what's going on in the National Center, there is Sharon's email address. There's lots of partnerships, lots of opportunities and collaborations at all of the different centers. But thank you so much, Sharon, for presenting today. And we'll be giving out an agenda soon on what will happen next month with the next National Center. So thank you.
And any of those names that you saw in there, I'll speak on their behalf. A lot of them are on here. They would be glad to talk to you in detail on what their tasks are.
Absolutely. This is all about collaboration and so on. Thank you, Sharon. So lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about communication and telling the story of all of the great work that you're doing in the Centers of Academic Excellence community. You might see this person sneaking up behind me here. This is Amy Heisel. She works in the office and she's helping with communications and so on. The only way that we're going to really make a place in cybersecurity is to do all the things we've been talking about, but also tell the story a little bit and brag about all of the different things. If you don't tell us, we can't tell other people, and then we can't see where the collaborations, and we really want to make Sharon's diagram even more horrible with tasks, because we want to go ahead and say, what is going on with the 400 colleges and universities and how they're being involved? And so what we need from you is we need from all of you a way to tell the story. Now, Vanessa will drop in the chat. Recently, we implemented a short video digest that we release every month on things that are happening in the community. And where we get this information is from the CAE community website. And so I encourage you at some point, as you go through, and maybe you have faculty positions, or maybe you have some news or a news release or something that you're excited about in cybersecurity, is to log in to the CAE community website, place it there, and you will be, you might be picked to feature for our monthly news brief in video, our weekly digest that gets sent out, or maybe you'll be featured in the quarterly newsletter. But we want to be able to tell the story of all of the great work that is happening there. So Vanessa's put in the chat there a YouTube video that you can watch that shows a little bit of some of the goings on in the community. What I've pulled up here, though, is the CAE community website. And the website has the ability that if you log in through your account and you log in, that you can submit content directly to the website, and that goes to us and we referee the content. Like, we don't do advertisements and things like that, except for faculty opportunities. We should do a faculty auction. I was thinking that might actually be better, maybe do some fundraising that way. But anyway.
Only you're a pip.
So Amy, do you want to take them through real quick on how you do this? I'm going to move off to this side, let her steer on how you submit content.
Sure. Okay. So basically, you're going to go onto the CA community website. If you haven't already done so, create an account. And once you've created an account, you will see these at the top here, and you'll hit my content. And you go down to create content. And then there are the, these are the areas where you can submit news events, faculty opportunities, and it'll come, like Tony said, it'll come straight to us. We moderate it and then post it to the site. It's pretty easy, just fill out some basic information. One thing I've noticed on a lot of faculty opportunities lately is they're open-ended. There's no, applications must be received by. I've been defaulting to a 4-month period of time. If you need it to be longer or shorter, if you could just let me know. But it will, because if I don't put an expiration date, it'll just live on the website and it'll just clutter everything up. So we need to have a date where it can drop off. But like I said, I'll default to a 4-month window unless you tell me different. But yeah, if you go ahead and just submit content this way, it's faster. We receive it faster than if you send it to the email. I can take it through an email, but I would prefer you to do it through the website.
Great.
Got it. That way it has a history and I can see, who submitted what, where it is in the lineup.
Yep. If you have any news that's happening at your institution or a cross collaboration or something that is of interest, a resource that you find interesting, we also have a resource directory called CARD, and we'll invite Sid and Blair to talk at another point in time about the CAE resource directory that is on here, as well as Clark. There is a lot going on in the community. We had a meeting a couple of months ago, or it feels like a couple of months ago, where we all got the national centers together and we started talking about everything that was going on, and it was overwhelming. I'm still trying to digest it. And as you can tell by Sharon's diagram, there's a lot going on. And we're trying to piece together, again, how we tell the story, how we brand ourselves, and how we can move the community forward to really start to energize, because we've done a lot of talking and moving. I think we have a structure now that is good. And so we're moving from idea to action at this point. And that's what's great about this community. There's so much energy and so on, but we can't know everything that's going on unless you tell us. With that, I promised a very short meeting. We went 40 minutes. But if there are any, I'm just going to open it up for the last 2 minutes. I'll go 2 extra minutes here. If anybody has anything that is a quick question that I can address, you can put it in chat, or if there's a question for Sharon, we got a couple minutes here. I see Cynthia Irvine has job openings. How do we tell you that the expiration date is more than 4 months? Then you just go ahead and you tell us your end date, which might be 6 months out or something like that when you do the posting, Cynthia.
I only use a 4-month date.
Yeah.
They don't give me it.
Yeah, if you don't get it, if you don't give us a date, we use a 4-month date. Other questions, comments?
Is there any news on the CAER redesignation?
Yes, I would defer that to the candidates program. Is anybody from the candidates program on the call? Karine might be taking some well-deserved time off. Yes, there's some updates on that. Yair, do you have anything that you know of that you could pass along?
No,
No,
probably
okay.
contact the program office.
That's right. And the program office will be releasing official information. I know that we have the community of practice for the R's on the line, but we're trying to make sure that the messaging is clear from the program office. So we defer to them on
Yes,
that.
because some of us submitted earlier and haven't even been told if our application actually went through. So
Yes,
that's,
I would
little bit more
recommend
than
that I would recommend that you contact the program office
Okay,
on that.
all right.
I wish I had a better answer for you.
That's understandable.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything for Sharon or myself? Okay, thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Seen a lot of you.